I'd like to call the Clarkston Independence District Library Board of Trustees meeting for August 15, 2016 to order at 5:45. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Jan Gaffney? Here. Michelle Ginn? Here. Dan Green?
Here.
Mary Hamburg absent. And absent. Allison McFadden-Kiesling? Here. Marilyn Pomeroy?
Here.
Meredith here.
Okay. I'll accept a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We got that, madam? Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Call to the public. Hello.
Hi there. Julie Sislowitz, Friends of the Library. Just an update on the quilt. You may remember hearing lots of work has been going on with that. This is a quilt made with squares from Michigan authors. And it's gorgeous and it's beautiful, and friends are discussing now how to roll that out and share it with the public. So we want to have some kind of gala event. It will be next year, either in spring or fall, and we'll keep you posted.
Good.
You're welcome. Relative to that, the Friends have nominated Jenny Schultz for all her efforts regarding that and coordinating that for Friend of the Year. So that will happen as well. And the only other thing I have to share is that next year, starting in January, the meetings of the Friends will be meeting on Thursdays instead of Wednesdays. And that is because of the busyness of the library. We can't find a meeting room on Wednesday anymore. So, and that's about it.
Will that be afternoon or evening?
Oh, it will be in the evening. It's going to remain in the evening, yeah. And again, that'll start in January.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other members of the public who wish to speak? In that case, call to the public is closed. I'll accept a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any item that anyone wishes to remove for individual consideration? If so, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is approved. Next item on the agenda is library statistics.
You have your statistics in your handouts as opposed to in your packet, as you usually do. We are seeing a lot of growth in circulation. In July, it was up 23%. Reference questions are up 20%. Downloads are up 14%. Wireless up 26%. And adult programs up 100%. So.
Wow, that's spectacular.
Yes.
Must be doing something right.
So lots is going on. Lots and lots of things are going on.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Now the library director's report.
Item number 1, building and grounds. We are in the final stages of phase 2 of the library's parking lot reconstruction project. We still have one walkway fixture, light fixture that isn't lighting properly. The manufacturer sent a new driver, but that didn't solve the problem, so they will be sending a new fixture. We hope to have that done in the next couple of weeks. ASI still needs to complete the finish work we discussed last month, the crosswalk and setting the handicap parking signs. I'm also communicating with them about replacing the structural slab on Labor Day weekend as discussed. The irrigation system is back on its regular watering schedule. We are no longer watering the sidewalks and the public during the day. Allied still needs to correct the footings on the column at the entrance, but I have been talking to Mario about that, so we hope to get that done in short order. National Restoration has not given us a date for the retaining wall and the slab, but they will be doing it before the end of the season. I also asked them to, quote, resetting the first few rows of the bricks on the paver patio over here by the bench. When they re-poured the concrete slab, it lifted those. And I'd really rather have the mason do that than the concrete people. So I'm getting a quote. I'm hoping that the mason will be able to do that when he's also doing the retaining wall. In other projects that are going on, Owen Tree Service will be here on August 17th to groom the Katsura trees at the entrance. Those are memorial trees, and their upkeep is paid for by the family. That's not a library expense, but it is scheduled for this year. Patrons have mentioned that the bushes along the stairway have become overgrown. The supervisor of the DPW crew said they could cut them back for us, but suggested that we might want to have a professional clean them up and reshape them since they haven't really been properly groomed in a long time. So I've requested a quote from the arborist that took care of the yew bushes and cleaned up the crabapple trees for us last year. So I'm hoping to hear from him in the next couple of days. Okay. In terms of other project updates, thanks to a grant provided the Michigan Collaborative for Library Services, the library is using the Harwood Institute's community conversation techniques as part of our strategic planning process. Last week we conducted a very successful community conversation with the City Council. We also have 5 additional community conversations scheduled in the coming weeks, and you do have a bright orange handout that gives the dates that are coming up. Actually, we now have 6 instead of 5. There's one additional one that's not on this list. That was requested while we were at the City Council meeting, so we got that one scheduled. In terms of finances, included in your board packet is the 2015-2016 penal fine report. This year the library literally received today, the check came in the mail today, $75,220.19. In the 2014-2015 year, we received $71,859.13, so we are up a bit. These amounts are up significantly from the low of $41,145.62 from the 2010-2011, so we're in good shape there. Also, on August 9th, the library and the township executed the transfer of the funds as described in the agreement regarding retiree health care funding and the agreement regarding negative cash. We are very pleased to cross that off the to-do list. The library board treasurer and I have been reviewing some additional bank and investment options for the library funds, and we hope to have a recommendation for the library board to review at the September meeting, so that's coming up as well. And then in terms of collaborations, at the last board meeting, I distributed the draft of the formal agreement between the library and the Friends of the Library. Both boards have been reviewing the agreement, and I received some feedback on minor changes that could be made before reviewing the final draft and seeking approval from the 2 boards. And if you have further comments or changes, please let me know and I will get those into. Any questions on any of those items? Okay, very good.
Thank you. Now to regular business. The first item is electronic signage.
In 2005, the Friends of the Library purchased an electronic bulletin board for the library circulation desk. This consisted of a monitor and computer that allowed us to promote library activities and events using PowerPoint slides. As part of the library's technology plan, we've been discussing updating this outdated equipment with a modern system. A committee, including representatives handling marketing, community relations, and IT, worked on researching and developing a proposal that is easy to use, cost-effective, and coordinates with our online presence and print materials for a total PR strategy. And the committee is here to do their presentation for you.
My father's a salesman, and he always used to tell me, Connor, you can have the best product in the world, and it doesn't mean a thing if you don't know how to sell it. It's with that mindset that this committee was formed, because we understand that we have the best product in the world. We understand that the Clarkston Independence District Library is at the forefront of community outreach and youth programs. It was our job to sell it. Over the past 2 months, this committee has put together a comprehensive internal public relations and advertising overhaul designed to take the programs and services we already offer and propel them to the forefront of our public image moving forward. The bulk of that overhaul comes with the addition of digital signage. As a library in 2016, we are always looking for ways to innovate, inspire, and inform our patrons, and digital signage fits right into that mold. Now, old-fashioned posters are great, but they can be costly to produce, they're difficult to store, and they're nearly impossible to amend or edit once they're on the floor. With TVs strategically placed throughout the library, we can provide more digital posters that can be easily edited on the fly. What's more, digital signs are not limited to just static images and text. We can use animations and even video to really draw our patrons in and catch their eye, to teach them about all the services the library has to offer. And since creating new digital signs is nearly free and they don't take up any additional space, we can advertise more of our existing programs than we can with physical media. Our proposal includes 3 new digital signs. One in the front lobby to catch patrons as they're coming through the door. One above the circulation desk to ease the pain of waiting to get that new book home. And finally, a third mobile solution that will live in the business center next to the copier, but can be transported around to enhance any of our indoor programs. However, as we were looking into this solution, we realized that scalability was incredibly important. And that's why, with the solution that we have selected, adding new digital signs in the future, if these ones are successful, would not only be cost effective, but they would seamlessly integrate into our existing software. With this, we plan to integrate our marketing materials, from website to walk-in, to ensure that our patrons stay informed on the latest library events and community news. By unifying our promotional resources in this manner, we will ensure that our advertising is not only more accurate than ever before, able to change on a dime for all of those unexpected hiccups and delays, but also more accessible to everyone. And accessible really was key when we were looking into this solution, and not just for our patrons, but for our staff. Our solution includes, both in the budget and in the proposal, a comprehensive training program for an already intuitive piece of software that will be used to display the digital signs. This is to ensure that all of our team members here at the library, not just the IT staff, can push out and use the new digital signs to advertise their programs. Now, as excited as this committee is to provide digital signage to the library, we also realize that there is a portion of our patron base that really benefits from physical signs and handouts. And that is why our PR overhaul includes new poster holders and a partnership with all of our head librarians to make sure that there's more printed media for our patrons to bring home for those that like to have a constant at-home reminder of upcoming library events. Now, while some solutions that we looked into could cost as much as $20,000 to do all of the things that I just mentioned, this committee was able to compromise and find a no-compromises solution at a fraction of that cost. We're asking for just over $7,000 for a complete overhaul of our internal PR and advertising strategy to keep the library innovative, to keep the community enriched, and especially to keep our patrons informed. Thank you.
Very succinct.
That's not something I usually get when I give presentations. So thank you. And I'll take any questions if you have them from any of the information in your packet.
I have one.
Yes.
This equipment, how many times do you think it has to be updated, say in a 5-year period?
So the subscription and the model that we're actually going with is to reflect our technology plan, so we have a 3-year subscription based on that. Now, from a technology standpoint, a lot of the actual materials that are doing the legwork are pretty basic. The majority of the budget, if you'll notice, does call for a large server that we would have to establish in the back room, and that does make up a majority of that $7,000. And I would expect that based on the requirements that needs to do, we shouldn't need to look into doing that. I'd say within 5 years, we'd probably still be okay in that same. Obviously, it's something that we're not going to be able to keep forever, but it would be something that we wouldn't need to replace as often as, say, we do the patron computers or the staff.
I like the idea of in-staff training,
Yes.
and so that, I take it, was one of the major components.
Yeah, that was
of the
appealing.
selection.
There was actually only 2 solutions that we found that offered the in-staff training, and one of them was the aforementioned $25,000 one. So we decided, maybe not.
Okay.
So all of the staff will be trained?
The idea is, and we haven't discussed this as a committee, we were waiting until we had full approval. In my head, the idea is that we would take the staff members that are the head, so we take our teen librarian, our adult librarian, and our youth librarian, in addition to the IT staff and our marketing people, and we would have them trained so that they know how to use the software and promote that stuff. So that all departments are represented, but it's not necessarily something that every page and circulation clerk would need to know how to use.
That sounds like a good plan.
And that way the department heads can determine who if anybody else within their department needs to be able to access the
Right.
software and be able to show them how as well.
I like the flexibility that it gives. I think that's really important, and you presented that very well.
Are there any other questions? How soon do you anticipate that this could be installed?
The goal is for the end of the year. Once we have the approval as far as the funding goes, we should be able to have most of the materials here within, I'd say, a week. And then installation from that process is going to, a lot of it depends on Allied and getting the electrical work run and things like that. But once all of that is finished, I mean, the mounting of the TVs and the setting up of the software would be a 1 or 2 day project between Bill and I.
Okay, so the goal is to be completely operational by 2017,
Absolutely.
if not before.
If not
Before.
If there are no more questions or comments, I'll accept a motion on this item.
Now, in your packet, I included the way we need to break down that budget.
Yes.
The final cost is $7,192, but we need to break it down into 4 line items. 727 subscriptions, 980 equipment, 740.1 operating supplies, and 931 building and grounds maintenance. So the subscription for the software is the first piece. The equipment would be the televisions. 740.1 would be for the actual sign holders. And then 931 would be for running the cables and the electrical and so that's Allied.
Would you prefer a motion on this individually for each of these? Might be easier.
You could probably do it all as one, since I have it broken. If you wanted to do an approval of the project and then an approval of the 4 budget adjustments, you could do it that way. It's up to you.
I'm going to give it a go. I move to approve the electronic signage proposal as presented, approve budget adjustments of $1,045 into line item 727 subscriptions, $4,265,000 into line item 980 equipment, $550 into line item 740.1 operating supplies, and $1,332 into line item 931, which is the building and grounds maintenance, from fund balance to accommodate this project.
I'll support that motion.
So we have a motion and a second, and everyone has this item in front of them, so I am not going to read all of these divisions again. All right. Are there any questions or comments on any aspect? We'd like to thank you for the completeness of your presentation. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried and passed.
Good job.
Yes. So now we will move to item 2, the review and approval of the damaged and lost item recovery policy.
So the damaged and lost materials recovery charges needed to be reviewed and updated to account for changes to actual costs. Head of Circulation has provided a document including appropriate updated prices for the board to approve.
And that is on the back of your agenda item.
And he is here to answer questions if you have any questions.
Are any of these significant increases?
No, there's really no significant changes in the actual costs. Most of the changes were removing things that we no longer circulate, and removing procedures from the policy. There were a few things in here that when upon further reading, we went, that's really what we're supposed to be doing, not what the policy is. That's in our little circulation manual we have.
This is
That's the
operational.
process. Yeah, this is operational,
Not-
this is policy, so there was just, much of it was just cutting out of stuff that that was not policy related.
Well, I would move that we approve the damaged and lost material recovery charges as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the damaged lost item recovery policy as updated and presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried and approved.
Listen, thank you for your time on updating.
We appreciate that.
I lost my password. It locked itself back out.
The next item is the approval of the library board meeting schedule. So this will be our challenge for tonight here.
Well, my minutes work for me still, but 6 o'clock is better for me, especially since my shift is changing at work, so I won't be able to get here with my keys until 6.
Shift is changing.
At work, just I'm just going to be working a little bit later. The library, if I work at, I'm going to be getting off a little bit later,
So
so.
what time did we need to start?
6 o'clock, just 15 minutes later.
I missed that first part.
Yes, just 6 o'clock. Yeah.
So the current schedule, of course, has had us meeting at 5:45 once a month on a Monday. It's not always the same Monday of the month. So we do have a request that we back that up a little bit to 6 p.m.
15 minutes, that's all I'm asking. Then I'll be on time.
Is that really pushing it for you, or? will
It's
it-
good, but that's good. That'll be great. Thank you very much.
That was just,
Boy, is she
since
tired.
Sally's not here to speak for herself, the 6 o'clock was an issue for her in terms of
Right.
getting to her other Monday.
I think that she was pleasantly surprised that generally we are completing business in a timely manner.
I like 6 o'clock better myself, but,
I'm in favor of 6 o'clock.
yeah.
Yay.
I have no problem at all.
Sounds good.
And you still like Monday?
Monday, yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, Mondays are
I'm used to it now.
I wasn't suggesting
And the
changing,
public
I
is
just
used to
wanted
it, so.
Just making sure we were still on the same day.
Okay, now, we need to look at the date. So on your sheet, on the back of your sheet is a schedule. We just need to fill in the appropriate day for each month.
So I have that's why I have the computer in front of me, I have the calendar in front of me. Usually the January meeting we have fairly early in the month because you set your officers. I don't think, the first Monday of the month would be January 2nd. I don't know that you really want to meet on January 2nd, but January 9th is open and perfectly free, so.
Is that agreeable?
January 9th.
Yeah, January 9th, January 2nd is,
Yeah.
That's,
That gives us a day to, or a week to get used to the new year.
That's right, in 2017.
going into February, we have February 6th, February 13th, or February 27th. The 20th is President's Day, and we are closed that day.
I'm still in favor of a little earlier in the month.
How about 6?
The 6th?
Yeah, because it's a month after the first one.
Sure.
If this is not a problem with reports that you have to make,
The only one that's, the accountant prefers a later in the month when we do the quarterly reports. You'd be seeing your quarterly reports later because she wouldn't be able to get them out that quickly.
seemed like last year what we did was we did have the January one early and then the February one maybe like a week later and then kind of work our way towards later in the month.
And you're not going to get your, you don't get the first quarter report because that's the middle of audit season, and so she usually brings it to us in July. And so by the time you get to July, you might want to consider something a little bit later in the month. And you're going to run into the 4th and things like that anyway.
but it's not a problem earlier in the year. Okay, so in that case, we're still all right with February 6th?
That works for me, that's fine.
Okay.
But was that work for you, Julie? I wasn't following.
That's fine.
Okay.
All right, March.
March looks like the 13th or the 20th.
13.
Try for the
The
13th?
20th is my 30th wedding
Oh, we don't want to. Okay, so March 13th.
We have a vote for March 13th.
That's fine with me.
Gee, the 19th is mine.
April's a messy month. We could do April 3rd. April 17th is the day after Easter, and then April 24th is the book sale. So I would suggest going with the 3rd.
Okay,
Easter is always a...
so that keeps us away from Easter.
Mhm.
Was there a problem with the 10th?
There's an evening meeting already scheduled.
Oh, okay.
That's why we're doing this in August.
I see.
Last year we did it in September and we ran into all kinds of programs. We have a couple librarians who do plan way in advance. So we maybe should be doing this in June or July 5, but that seems really early to me.
No, but I just wondered when the tenth, so do what I would think was.
So we're looking now at May.
May, we have the 1st, the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th would be Memorial Day.
15th. Or 8th or 15th, which is, doesn't matter, 8th or 15th, whichever.
The 15th might be better for me. There
Okay.
is something that, kind of an early May thing that
Okay.
I'm not sure is happening, but
Okay.
15th is fine.
Okay, in June, we have June 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th.
All right. Is there any conflict with school being out, with the art show, with the...
School will be out, I looked that up this morning. The last day of school is June 16th, so our first closed Sunday would be the 18th. Summer kickoff isn't in here yet. This year, wait a minute, let me look at, I can go back and see what it was. June of 2016, they did their summer reading kickoff on the 20th.
So slightly earlier then. All right, what are the dates available in June again?
How about the 12th, is that available?
Is that, yeah.
Yep,
what's-
12th.
That sounds...
Yeah, the art show she has tentatively planned for, looks like the 22nd, she's got a little question mark.
So does the 12th sound okay then?
the 12th sounds fine. I just, if we're going to meet later in July to accommodate the quarterly financials, will that big of a time lag be a problem between two meetings?
Oh, you think earlier then instead? Is that what you're thinking?
No,
No,
she's thinking
Sure.
May.
a week later even,
Oh.
because we're going to have to go late in July to
Let's
get
take
the
a look at
quarterlies.
July and
Yeah.
see what we want to do there, then we can adjust that.
July has 5 Mondays.
July, well, you're not going to want to do the 3rd.
Right.
The 10th, the 17th, the 24th, or the 31st.
Now, would the 17th be enough time?
She should be able to do it by the 17th.
Okay, well
So if
then-
you wanted to do the 12th and the 17th, I think
Okay,
that
that's
would
fine.
be totally fine.
Okay.
I just didn't want there to be some huge time lapse in
No, I
between
think
those
that's
two.
okay. I think that would be fine.
Summertime anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, August.
August.
Here we are on the 15th
The
this year.
7th, the 14th, the 21st, or the 28th?
You want to do the 14th?
Yeah.
For some very strange reason, I already have that on my calendar for the 14th. I have no idea why.
She's looking ahead.
I'm looking at them and what on the schedule? Library board.
Okay, so September, Labor Day will be the 4th. So the 11th, the 18th, and then the 25th would be book sale setup, so we don't have a space.
How's the 11th sound?
That sounds great. 11th sounds good. And 11th?
This is not as difficult as we thought.
Well, that's because we're doing it before everything is on the calendar. We may have some unhappy children's librarians, but they'll work around you, so. Okay, so October. October could be the 2nd, the 9th, the 16th, the 23rd, or the 30th. They're all open. See, that's why I wanted to do this so far.
I just say the 9th just because of September 11th, then we'd get almost a month in,
Okay.
before our next
The ninth
It's
meeting.
going to be difficult for me to do this year.
9th? Oh, there's no problem.
Can we do the 16th?
The 16th, yeah.
I would be the only one.
Too.
Pardon?
I might be out of town also during that week.
Okay. Or the 9th or the 16th?
16th would be better for me.
All right, okay. It's starting to look a lot later, like this year. This year you were sort of mid-month. Goes,
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of the 11th and the 15th this year, so that must feel comfortable to you.
Yeah. Sometimes those very first, we knew that we wanted to stay away from the first of the month
Yep,
so we can get more data at our meetings.
yeah. Otherwise you miss the statistics.
And we don't want to run into Halloween, Thanksgiving, or any of it.
Yep.
Okay.
So November 6th, the 13th, the 20th, or the 27th. Thanksgiving is the 23rd and 24th.
How about 13?
13.
Sounds good.
13?
13 is good, yeah.
Okay. And then December, let's see. So On the December 4th, it says it's the tear down of the holiday book sale, but they'll be out of here by evening. So the 4th, the 11th, the 18th, and then the 25th is actually on a Monday, so.
About the 11th?
11th, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so to recap, Monday nights at 6 p.m., I have January 9th, February 6th, March 13th, April 3rd, May 15th, June 12th, July 17th, August 14th, September 11th, October 16th, November 13th, and December 11th.
Now, I have one question.
Yes.
Let's go back to April. That's the only meeting in which we're really...
Really early? You want
Well,
to put it-
February
It's
is,
close to March.
right.
I'm going to go back to the April calendar.
Right.
April, we were trying to jump over Easter because Easter is...
It's when?
Easter is the 16th.
16th.
Okay.
And there's a program on the 10th. The 10th.
There was,
we have
okay,
available,
so we went with the 3rd because of
Right.
these other items. Okay.
Yeah, you didn't really want to do the day after Easter, which would be the 17th, and then we're in the middle of the book sale.
Right. So,
Oh, yeah.
Unless you want to meet on top of the books.
No, that would be uncomfortable.
That would be messy and difficult, yes.
all right, and we are saying 6 p.m.
6 p.m. That's fine. This does require a roll call vote.
Right. I'll accept a motion.
Okay, I move that we approve the resolution setting the 2017 library board meeting schedule.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions before we call the roll call? Okay.
Jan Gaffney,
Yes.
Michelle Gann,
Yes.
Dan Green,
Yes.
Allison McFadden Keesling,
Yes.
Marilyn Connolly.
Yes. Thank you. That went very smoothly. We beat Lawrence.
Yes, not by much.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, item 4, we need to set a budget workshop date because our goal is to finalize our budget in September. Therefore, we need to do some work.
How long did the meeting last? 2 hours?
Couple hours probably.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been working really hard with the department heads putting all of this together, so it's coming together pretty well, actually.
I would like to recommend that we try to meet this month because September 5th is Labor Day, and that doesn't give us much time. Our meeting is the next Monday. So if we could meet this,
And to put it in the paper, it has to be in the paper, I have to put it in at the end of, I have to submit the public hearing notice the end of August, and the budget has to be available to the public the point at which it hits the newspaper. So it has to be in the newspaper.
while she's thinking, I'm saying, look at the week of the 22nd. Not this week, but next week. See how your calendar's looking then.
It goes into the paper on the 31st, which means it needs to be available to the public on that date, so that when we meet on the 12th, it will be available for public review that whole
Actually, I'm on vacation next week, so I can,
Do you have plans though? that
I
would-
do, but I'm gonna work around this, so
Okay.
but I don't have to be to
So
work.
you would be available during the day?
Yeah, since I have people on, yeah, normally I'm not, but I am
So
this week.
that's great.
Yeah.
So what would be the best day for you,
Oh.
in case you're planning on going somewhere? or-
Thanks. Probably Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday would be best. Tuesday, Wednesday.
Take a look at the 23rd. How does that look for you?
Was it a Tuesday?
That's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I would like to make sure, in case we need another meeting,
Yeah.
that we have a little time.
Yeah.
It actually looks really good.
Tuesday, the 23rd.
Could we do late morning or?
Yeah, we do morning.
Instead of afternoon? Could we do-
I can't do too early in the morning because I have a doctor's appointment, but I should be done by 11, 10:30 or 11.
You want to do an over lunch meeting? I usually bring snacks anyway. I can bring in.
That's
Does
fine.
that sound okay?
Yeah.
I actually can can be available till 3:30 that day.
So does noonish sound?
Oh, yeah, I would absolutely not have any
Or
problem
11?
making noon. I could probably, 11 shouldn't be a problem, it's a 9 o'clock appointment.
Just never know. Okay.
Okay.
So we like
23rd.
noon on the 23rd?
Okay.
So a library workshop meeting,
Yep,
budget workshop,
yep. August 23rd, which is a
Tuesday at,
So we can tomorrow,
That would be
At noon.
right?
yep.
They said noon to 11:30.
What time did you just say?
She said noon.
I said noon, but if you like 11:30, make a
No,
bit of
noon
difference.
is fine. I thought I heard 11:30.
I'm here all day, so whatever you guys want to do is
Okay.
totally okay with me.
That way, that gives Dan a little extra time, just in case.
Okay.
If it takes that long at the doctor's office, I'll be cranky when I get here. Just won't.
Okay.
Okay.
So we do not need, and
No.
We need a vote for that? or-
we don't need to make a motion for this, do we?
I think we do because we're setting a special meeting.
Okay,
I'm not
So,
sure,
I
but to be
will
on the safe side, I would
let's do it.
suggest.
I will accept a motion.
I move that we set a budget workshop meeting for August 23rd at 12 o'clock noon.
Second.
High noon, right?
Yes.
And there's a second? Dan? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the meeting shall be held August 23rd at noon. Okay, number 5, 2000, back to the calendar, 2017 library closure dates.
So they weren't actually in your packet because I was still fussing with them today. They are in the handouts that I gave you, and it looks like, the very, very bottom, look at the, whoops, the very bottom of the handouts I gave you.
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
It's got our letterhead at the top, and it says close
Got it.
dates for 2017. We have 11 standard holidays. You'll remember that we eliminated Veterans Day last year in exchange for a floating holiday. And so the official holidays are New Year's, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, President's Day, Good Friday, Independence Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. We usually close early the night before Thanksgiving and also on New Year's Eve, of course.
Makes sense. So no new surprises.
We actually are not closing early on December 31st.
And December 31st, that would be our standard
I
schedule.
mean, just,
So you could
it doesn't actually.
So it's not early.
It's not early. And it was interesting because I looked at the calendar, and this year, for December 31st of 2016, she's actually doing a program that day. So I was a little hesitant, even though that's a Sunday, to recommend that we close that day because they are doing a New Year's Eve party for the kids. Now, I don't know if they're planning on doing that on the Sunday of 2017, but I was hesitant to even suggest that, so.
So in reality, we're only going to close early on
That's
one
right.
day.
That's right.
Same way this year in 2016.
Okay.
Because it's a Saturday, we close at 6 anyway, but I like to leave it on the calendar so that when we get back to that holiday being on a Monday, we don't forget
We know
that that's what we
the
usually do. So it helps me to remember from one year to the next.
Okay, any questions, comments, new holidays to suggest?
I like that.
In that case, I'll accept a motion.
I move that we approve the closed date calendar as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the 2017 library closure dates. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. And the motion carries. Okay, number 6.
In your board packet, you have the second quarter financial report. We just did this not too long ago, so there are no budget adjustments in here. All the budgets look really good right now. So if you have any questions or concerns about any of them, we seem to be right on target on all of them. The one thing that we do need to do, in order to resolve the agreement regarding retiree healthcare funding and the agreement regarding negative cash, I spoke to the library's auditor and the accountant to clarify the appropriate budgetary documentation for these transactions. 2 special line items need to be added in the 2016 budget for these purposes. The library board is being asked to approve the creation of line item 694.002, which we're going to call RHFV transfer, which is a retiree healthcare funding vehicle transfer, which is exactly what it's called in the contract with the township, to receive the revenue from that agreement. And we also need to create line item 750.000, negative cash transfer, to accommodate the corresponding expenditure. And then the library board also needs to approve a budget adjustment of 106,132.61 from fund balance into line 750.000, negative cash transfer, to accommodate that expense.
Okay.
You know, it's a mouthful.
Is that two different motions?
You could, I guess you could break it down however you like. You could create the line items and then make the budget adjustment separately.
Probably it's best to do it as 2 separate motions.
However you want,
Yeah.
that's
So
perfectly
I would move that we approve the creation of line item 694.002, RHFV transfer, and 750.000, negative cash transfer, to accommodate the agreement regarding the retiree healthcare and the negative cash.
I'll second that one.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we create 2 line items, 694.002 and 750.000, to accommodate the finalization of the cash transfers between the township and the library. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And now I would move that we approve a budget adjustment of $106,132.61 into line item 750.000, negative cash, from the library's fund balance.
Second. So it's been moved and seconded that we approve a budget adjustment of $106,132.61 into line item 750.000. Any comments or questions? We've been working on this for a long
Yes.
time. It's not a new item. All of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. This motion carries.
And thank you to all who made this moment possible.
Okay. Number 7, HAP renewal.
Each year, HAP presents an initial request for interest in renewing our health care plan prior to releasing the premiums for upcoming year and requesting a formal final approval of renewal. This request includes the estimated percentages for the rate change for the upcoming year. At this same time, our agent also reviews the options, looking for the best rate for us. HAP estimates a 7.9% increase in rates for the upcoming year. The agent recommends renewing our current plan with HAP, as they are unable to match these rates with other carriers because our current plan existed prior to the Affordable Care Act and is still grandfathered in, preventing it from being subject to some of the new requirements. This creates savings for both the employees and the library. This is just an initial request to renew. Changes could still be made to the details of the plan before the library board makes its final approval to renew the plan with HAP if the rates are determined to be too high. So you could make changes that would bring the premiums down by changing deductibles and co-pays, and if it's determined that you're not happy with the actual premium numbers.
So this is a preliminary
It's just a
approval.
preliminary. And essentially what they're saying is, we want to know if you're interested in renewing before we start crunching numbers for you and giving you the actual premium costs.
And people are pretty happy with HAP.
It's,
Given the options in the current healthcare economy,
Right.
how about if we phrase it that way?
the premiums will increase significantly more if we start looking at other carriers.
I think so, and I
Yeah.
think the estimate of the 7.9% increase is pretty modest
And
compared
I've-
to what a lot of them are.
And I've spoken to I've spoken to some of the employees who would prefer that we not change carriers because they have all of their doctors figured out. I actually had somebody who came into my office and said, please don't change carriers, so. Because it just makes it more
That can be a
complicated.
daunting task.
It can be. Go through all this.
Any other comments? If not, I'll accept a motion.
I move that we approve the initial half renewal as presented.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded that we view the initial half renewal as presented. Any further comments or questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And the motion is carried. Number 8.
Okay. Last but not least, I am becoming an expert in asphalt. As we come to the end of Phase 2 of the parking lot reconstruction project, the patrons and staff have pointed out 3 fairly significant potholes at the south edge of the parking lot. The entire area will be redone during Phase 3 in the spring of 2017, but these potholes are significant enough that they may cause problems during the coming winter months with plowing, etc. What we've determined is that the worst potholes were in the driveway. And people were only talking about how bad the potholes were in the driveway. We got the driveway fixed, and then suddenly the pothole that was over here was a huge one, and everybody talked about that one, and we got that one fixed, and now everybody's talking about this one back here. We didn't even notice that one until this one was fixed. So,
This is called being proactive.
yes.
That's good. Is that it?
Well, last year, when we were going into Phase 2, I actually had them deal with a couple of the potholes that were on the front edge of Phase 2 when they did the driveway. The one at the back of the parking lot, nobody was talking about at all, so I will admit that I did not even ask them to consider doing anything with that. But apparently now that we've gotten everything else fixed, those are really, really deep. And we are using much more of our parking lot than we used to because we're a lot busier than we used to be as well. So we are currently working with ASI, our Phase 2 asphalt contractor, regarding the issues with the installation of the structural slab. I would prefer not to ask them to do additional work at this time. Because we are quickly approaching the end of the paving season and need to get on a contractor's calendar quickly to get this work done, I requested a quote for these repairs from Spartan Paving. This is a local company that had the next lowest bid for Phase 2 of our reconstruction project. They were disappointed that they lost the bid for Phase 2 and are interested in bidding on Phase 3. I thought by giving them an opportunity to quote these temporary repairs, we could see how they are to work with on a smaller scale. I suspect they will be more assertive in the Phase 3 bidding process. We're not assertive enough to win in Phase 2, and I think they're interested in winning Phase 3. They were quick to respond, offered a complete proposal at a price that is comparable to previous repairs we had done before we started our reconstruction project. I would recommend approving the proposal to have this work done. Since this is not currently a budgeted item, I would also request a budget adjustment of $1,500 to accommodate these repairs.
Okay, any comments or questions? I'm in favor of being proactive. We hate to start fixing these things when it's cold out.
You get a better repair if you do it in the warmer weather than if you do it, if they have to patch it in the cold weather. It's definitely only a temporary patch.
It is down to the dirt as well. I went out and, yeah, it's all the way down to the dirt.
Maybe if they repair it well,
Yeah.
when we do Phase 3, they won't need to do as much work there.
Did they indicate that they think they could accommodate the schedule?
Yeah, he sent me the proposal, basically meaning he was willing to put us in there. They want Phase 3, so.
I think
They'll
and
squeeze
I
us
think
in.
It's a good way to find out.
Yeah.
To work with.
Yeah.
All right, I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve the proposal from Spartan Paving for the pothole repairs and approve a budget adjustment of $1,500 into line 931, Building and Grounds Maintenance from fund balance.
Second.
Okay, it's been approved and seconded that we accept this quote for temporary pothole repair. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion carries. And now that we've gotten through number 8, I will accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Negative. We are adjourned at 6:34.